What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Inside the Dugout.
What's up?
018.
But before we do that, Chance and Mike are going to go through a stretching routine. Okay, they'll show us how they stretch, how they warm up. So let's get a big circle all the way from the US to help us build baseball in Malaysia. Okay? So if you're number 1 through 10,
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Inside the Dugout with Xavier Scruggs. My name is Chad Kavanaugh, and I'm here with Hakeem Lai. We'll be your hosts for tonight's evening. We really appreciate you guys joining us. As you may know, Advanced Baseball International exists to develop baseball in Asia by leveraging American baseball resources, networks, and expertise. One of the ways we're trying to do this is by providing entertaining and instructive baseball media content, including Inside the Dugout live stream events like the one right now. Inside the Dugout provides you all with an incredible opportunity to interact with professional baseball players. Tonight, you will be able to ask Xavier questions about his life and career as a former MLB and KBO baseball player. Lai and I will ask Xavier questions about his life and career during the first half of the event. During the second half, you will have the opportunity to ask Xavier questions by posting in the comment section of either the YouTube or Facebook stream. You may begin posting your questions at any time during the event.
So hey everybody that is watching, so it's me, Lai Hakim. So tonight, nearly 80 baseball and softball players across Asia have registered for the event, including Malaysia, Indonesia, Iran, Azerbaijan, Laos, Bhutan, and Kazakhstan. A special shout out to all of the baseball and softball clubs represented tonight, including UPM Snitches, Raiders, TAFE Baseball Softball Club, Alborz Azarax, Malaysian Under-18, Pilah Delpia Baseball Club from Pilah, Garuda Baseball Club, Falcons, DKI Jakarta, Chinwoo Baseball Softball Club, Malaysian Women Baseball Team, Jakarta Cheetah Cubs, Thimphu Baseball Club, Lao J Brothers Baseball Club, Kazakhstan National Baseball Team. So be sure to give us a follow and like on Facebook and Instagram at Advanced Baseball to stay up to date on the latest with Advanced Baseball event.
We've also got two incredible sponsors that we want to tell you about real quick for tonight. Our first sponsor is New Era Cap Malaysia. For over 100 years, New Era has provided the highest quality of caps for baseball players around the world. In fact, New Era has been the exclusive on-field cap provider for Major League Baseball since 1993. Our second sponsor is HT Sports, a baseball equipment retailer based in Taiwan. HT Sports has agreed to send 12 brand new baseballs to the Asian club with the most players registered for the event tonight. Be sure to stick around until the end of the event to make sure you catch all the giveaways.
So without further ado, our guest tonight for Inside the Dugout was selected in the 19th round of the 2008 MLB draft by the St. Louis Cardinals. He made his MLB debut with the Cardinals in September 2014, was later named the organization Player of the Month. So he went on to play for the Miami Marlins before signing with the NC Dinos in the Korean baseball organization, KBO. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor on behalf of ABI to welcome you to the show, Xavier Scruggs.
What's going on, everybody? Apa kabar? I appreciate you guys having me on here. Super excited, super just juiced and happy to break down all of my career and everything I've gone through and then answer any questions. But hey, Chad, Lai, appreciate you guys having me, man.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate you being here. Yeah, we're back. All right, we're back.
Sorry.
So, all right, Lai, start us off, man.
All right, so Xavier, thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to start with a few questions that will go through your bio and history of playing baseball. Then we will open up the floor for the audience question. So I guess let's go ahead, right? So
let's do it.
Number one question of the night. So we have people watching right now, so which is good. When did you start playing baseball? What was it about baseball that drew you to the sports?
Man, I love telling this story because I think I was about 4 or 5 years old when my dad put me in Little League Baseball, but I didn't like it at first. Like, I wasn't good at all. So I used to always get mad at myself and like, man, even off the tee, I couldn't hit the ball off the tee. So I used to get mad, throw the bat down, and my dad used to be like, don't get upset, man. Just keep working hard, keep practicing. It's always going to take more practice. But not until about the age of 11 or 12 years old, I grew up in San Diego. So when I was 12 years old, the San Diego Padres played the New York Yankees in the World Series in 1998. And then at that time, the Yankees were up 3-0 in the series. They ended up going on to win the fourth game. So they swept my Padres. But during that time when I was watching the game, I saw the Yankees, when they won, grown men jumping up and down on each other, hugging on each other, crying on each other. And I'm like, man, what is this that brings out these type of emotions when you win? And I was like, man, this is something that I want to be a part of. I want to do this. I want to win at the highest level. I want to keep working hard so I can get there to the World Series one day and experience something like that. So from then on, I can say in 1998, while about 11, 12 years old, that's when I really started pushing myself and was like, man, I want to be a professional athlete. I want to be a professional baseball player. And when I told my dad that, even my mom, they said, well, it's going to take a lot of hard work. It's not going to be anything easy. It's going to be every single day. And but that's what I wanted. So that's what I was excited about. And I just took it from there, man. That's what made me fall in love with the game.
That's awesome. So you talk about 12 years old kind of being the turning point where you really tried to focus on it. Was talent pretty evident from the very beginning, or was your progression as a player kind of slow through your teenage years?
No, man, my progression has always been slow. I've always been what they call a late bloomer. And I've always been somebody who I've never been like super talented. I've always had to work really, really hard, just to at least get good in one aspect of my game. So when you ask me that, it just reminds me of all the hard work that I had to put in, because I was never one of those guys that was always like the best talented guy or the top prospect. I was always working hard just so I can give myself an opportunity. And my parents will tell you, and I'll tell you too, like when I first started, even when I was like 11, 12 years old, I couldn't really throw the ball. Like I had trouble throwing the ball. I had some power, but I didn't know how to hit really and be consistent. So I just had to keep working on those things and hope that the time that I was putting in was going to help me in the long run.
No doubt.
So taking you back to 2005. So you were drafted in the 50th round of the MLB draft, right? But you choose instead to go to University of Nevada to play baseball there. So tell us about the decision. Why go to college instead of, pro ball?
Yeah, man, I was always really focused on a college education. Like even since I was middle school, high school, my parents both had the opportunity to graduate from a 4-year university. So that was always something that they were like, hey, this might be a good experience for you, an opportunity for you to grow more, develop more, even baseball wise too, not just school, but baseball wise. And so I was always attracted to that. Like they would take me to their school. They went to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo in California, and they would take me to their university. I would go check it out. Like, oh man, this is cool. Like the college lifestyle, getting to be on my own. Like those were the things that I wanted to do. So when I had the opportunity to get drafted, I was very thankful, of course, but I knew I wasn't ready at that time. I wasn't ready to be a professional baseball player. I knew I still had growing. I needed to develop. I needed to get better. And I needed to learn how to be on my own. So I had the opportunity to go to UNLV, Las Vegas, go to school there. And I told myself, okay, X, 3 good years. I'm going to give you 3 good years, and then you can get the opportunity to get drafted again. So for me, just being drafted out of high school, I knew I was good enough to be a professional. But now it was like, okay, give yourself 3 years to get even better and see where you could end up there. So like I said, education was always important to my family and I. So that was one big part of it. But then also just opportunity to develop as a baseball player.
No doubt. And, looking at your stats, kind of doing some research for this, you obviously progressed as a player. In your junior year, you batted .652. And then you were drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals in the 19th round of the 2008 draft, but you didn't make your MLB debut until 2014. So tell us about those 6 years in the minor leagues. What kept you motivated, and what was it like to finally reach the big leagues?
Man, it was 6 long years in the minor leagues, man. Like a lot of people after year 4, after year 5, a lot of people will say, hey, I'm done with it. Time to move on. Let me go get a job somewhere else. Like baseball's been fun, but let's move on. But for me, it was always like I knew I could get there, but I just knew it was going to take me a little bit longer. Like I mentioned earlier, I was always a late bloomer. I was always somebody that had to work super hard to get to where I wanted to be. So I knew it would just take me a little bit longer. But man, it's a long grind. It's a lot because you're not getting the great pay like the major leaguers do. You're not getting great food, nutrition a lot of the time. You don't have the same resources as far as facilities. The stadiums aren't as nice. You're got long bus rides, 14-hour bus rides to play 3 games and 14 hours back a lot of the times. So you're sleeping on buses a lot of the days. And then, you're so much away from your family. Like, family was always big for me. So being away from family was tough too. So 6 years of doing that was really tough. But for me, it was important to do things like play winter ball. I played winter ball in Colombia, Dominican, Mexico. So those places really helped prepare me for that next step to get called up to the big leagues. And then to answer your second question, to get called up, like that's the best feeling in the world, man. I get chills, goosebumps right now thinking about it, because it was one of the greatest moments. Because you think you've been working so hard for one moment in your entire life, like a dream. You've always had this dream, but when you finally get there, it's a whole nother feeling, man. It just reminds you of everything that you put into it, not just the hard work, but every sacrifice that went into it. Not being able to hang out with friends, not going to certain parties. I missed a lot of time with my brother. I have my brother's 2 years younger than me. I didn't get to spend a lot of time with him because I was chasing this dream for a long period of time. And those sacrifices, they take a toll on people. They take a toll on you too. So those things are really important for me. And once I was able to hit that kind of pinnacle, it was like I could breathe now. I could yes, thank you.
That makes it a quick follow-up. So you 3 years at UNLV and then 6 years in the minors. So you talked about kind of the development of some of those things. What were the major takeaways from college minors that really set you up to succeed in professional ball?
Yeah, man. And this is something that I always kind of talk about when I'm talking to the youth and people playing the game. It's like, there's probably a couple things. For me, it was understanding what my weaknesses were, right? Understanding, okay, what areas do I need to get better in? And a lot of times I would write those down. Okay, so I don't forget. And it may be every day writing something down, but I need to know what my weaknesses are so I can work on those things. I already know I got power. I already know I'm strong. But what can I work on to get better at? And if I don't know, I need to ask somebody. I need to ask questions, ask my coaches, ask my scouts, ask, my parents, whoever it may be. They're watching me all the time. They're going to know what I need to work on, what I'm struggling at. And then another thing for me was just being a leader, like understanding that people are always watching me. So I need to make sure that I'm taking care of my business on and off the field, because that's going to help me develop as a person over everything. And if I'm developing as a person, I'll develop in the game as well.
That's good.
Right. So are we going to answer that question first, or are we going to my question first?
You go for it, man.
Sorry about that. All right. This question, right? So I've been waiting. Sorry, Ax. So I have to ask this question, man. Like, Ichiro Suzuki is one of the best baseball player of all time. When I think about baseball, I think of him. He's obviously a baseball legend, right, in Asia. So in 2016, you were Ichiro's teammates, right? So what was Ichiro like? What was it like to be his teammate? And, do you have any stories about Ichiro?
Hey, man, Ichiro was cool, man. He was one of those guys that it was good for me because I was just up and coming into the big leagues, and I got to watch someone who had been so established work every single day. So to see someone like him in the cage every day, taking millions of swings like this, that's why this guy was so good. He was still upper 30s years old, still taking millions of swings in the cage to perfect his swing every single day. And that reminded me, okay, if this guy is doing this, I probably should be doing more. I need to be doing more than he is. But he also, his personality wise, he was real relaxed, real calm, but real professional. Someone that always was studying the game. You could see his eyes were always locked in on the pitcher. Even if he wasn't starting that day, he was like trying to figure out what was the pitcher doing. So when he came into play, it was just plug and play. Like he knew what he was going to do at the plate. but just a real laid back, relaxed, calm dude. One thing I remember a story is when I first got to Miami. No, this was even in spring training. When I first got to spring training, I saw all this equipment from Japan, all this weightlifting equipment, all this crazy stuff that I had never seen in my entire life. Because, you know, in the States, we have like our equipment, and so we're so used to seeing it all the time. But then I saw all this equipment in Japanese writing, and I'm like, what is all this stuff, man? And a couple of the players were like, that's Ichiro stuff. And I was like, he brought all this stuff from Japan. It was literally a whole weight room worth of stuff. And I was like, that's how, but the truth is that's how dedicated he was to his craft. I was just like oblivious. I was like, man, what is all this stuff? Can I use some of this? And Ichiro said, no. He said, this is mine. He said, one day I'll show you how to use it. One day I'll show you. Because it was different stuff, like stuff that I wasn't used to doing, all this stretching, you know. So It was crazy.
Man, we've seen that here, even in Asia and in Malaysia, the differences between the American style of warming up and throwing and stretching and the Japanese. So it is interesting that it plays out at every level. That's cool.
But it's funny, when I got to Korea, I saw the same equipment, and I was like, okay, I know how to use some of this now.
There you go. You're around it.
Yes.
Sounds cool. That's a great segue. So later in 2016, you decided to move to Korea to play for the NC Dinos in the KBO. What was it like to move your family over there? I know you've shared just offline that you were just married recently, but was that a difficult decision? And how did you decide to leave the U.S. and the MLB for Korea and the KBO?
Chad, that was the most difficult decision I've ever made in my entire life. Like taking all my stuff and saying, let's go across the world.
Right.
But first it was like, okay, let me talk to my wife, because, you know, we had just gotten married, or we were just about to be married. And I was like, we got a great opportunity. And she already had a great job. So she was like, no, you go ahead and go by yourself. And I was like, no, I can't go across the world and do it without you. So we had talked about it for a long time, prayed about it for a long time, and just try to figure out, okay, how is this going to help us? Is this the right decision? And ultimately it came down to baseball. Great opportunity to play over there every single day, not be up and down from the minor leagues to the big leagues. So for some of you that don't know, I had been in the minor leagues and getting called up to the big leagues, but then they send you back down sometimes. So there would be no more of that. It would just be with one team. So I was excited about that. Secondly, the experience of a whole new culture. Like that was something that I was excited about, is traveling, experience a whole new culture, diving in, you know, and just getting to see new things. That was something I was always excited about. So that was the second thing. And the third thing was the opportunity to play and maybe perform really well there and come back to the States and get another opportunity in the United States. So a couple of big things that went into that decision. I talked to a lot of guys that played in Korea. I talked to Eric Thames, who played for the Dinos before me, the NC Dinos before me. I talked to some other guys, and they were like, X, it's an amazing experience. You won't regret it. And I didn't, man. I had a great time over there. But yes, it was the toughest decision I ever had to make in my entire life.
No doubt.
Well, so you mentioned it before. You already say some of it, you know, but you had the unique opportunity to play in two of the, I would say, powerhouse of, you know, baseball, which is the MLB and also the KBO. So what was it like, you know, to play in the KBO versus the MLB? And also I saw footage of you in the streets, you know, being chased by kids in the Korea. So I'm like, oh man, so talk to us about that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was different. When I first got to Korea, I was honestly a little homesick, just because I felt like I had been dropped in a whole new, you know, which I was, a whole new country, a whole new area, where I think the biggest thing is I couldn't understand anything, right? Like the letters on, or the characters on the restaurants. How was I going to decide what I wanted to eat? What is chicken? What is pork? What is vegetables? Like, what am I reading right now? So I didn't understand the language, of course, and then having to rely on somebody as my translator all the time, basically 24/7. Hey, can you help me get to this place? Hey, I'm gonna need this for the apartment. Can you help me call so and so? So those things were some of the tough things, especially as a man, right? Like, as a man, we always want to just control everything. We want to do everything on our own. It was one of those times where I just had to be patient because I didn't know everything. I didn't know what to do. I had to lean on somebody else. So that was tough. The baseball part was fine. Like, when I got to the stadium, and the cool thing was the apartment was like a street away from the stadium. So I could just walk down to the stadium. I was on the 52nd floor. I was like way up there. I could see the whole city. So, like, that was the cool thing, is like the apartment, everything was cool. And then walking down or taking the elevator, going down, then walking to the stadium, like, baseball was baseball. So I could just, when I got to the stadium, that was cool. But then when I leave the stadium, it was like, okay, what do I do now? What am I going to go eat? How do I work the washing machine in my apartment? Because it's all in Korean, it's all in Hangul, so I don't know what it's saying. So it was like a lot of those things were tougher off the field, but on the field was just baseball, man. Those guys, I had an amazing time with them. Still talk to a lot of them today. They obviously just won the KBO championship, the KBO series. So it was amazing to watch them do that. Man, Korea was an amazing experience.
You still have the Korean hashtag too on your Instagram bio.
Yeah, man, I still got because that's how much it really had an effect on me, because it changed me as a person. Going somewhere, traveling somewhere, playing baseball somewhere else, you start to change your whole perspective on things. And that's why I always tell people, like, if you have a chance, go somewhere else to see what somebody else is going through, so you can walk a mile in somebody else's shoes. You can change your whole perspective. Before I got to Korea, like, a lot of times it was looked down upon to go to play in KBO, if you're a major leaguer. So when I went over there, I was like, this is amazing. Like, why would anybody look down upon this? And now guys are like calling me, guys are like, how do I get over to Korea? Like, because in the States, it's so, the opportunity to play now is just dwindling smaller and smaller. So it's like guys want to try to play Japan, Korea, wherever they can, Mexico. So I'm very blessed that I had that opportunity.
That's sweet. And obviously anyone that's played baseball or sports of any kind, team sports, knows how important the relationships with your teammates in locker room are. What was that like, being cross-cultural in a team setting? What were the difficult things, and what were the things that were even more rewarding being in another culture?
Yeah, I think the difficult things were being able to really dive into like a deeper relationship with somebody, right? So a lot of times with the translator or without a translator, it's going to be, hey, how are you? How's your family? How are you feeling? What did you eat? Some of the basic things that you talk about. But if you really want to get deeper in a relationship, that's going to be tough, because I don't know all the right words to say as far as in that language. And they don't know all the words to say with me. You could tell there was always times when I would talk to somebody and we would have a couple sentences and it was like we wanted to say more, but it would be hard to get that over that language barrier. So that was one of the toughest things for me, because I'm a people person. Like, I love to learn about you. Love to learn about your background, your experiences, why you are the way you are. And that was something that, like, even though that was tough, we still tried to do it. Like, we still invited the Koreans over to the apartment. Some invited us over to the apartment for dinner, meet each other's families. And we tried to do it with and without the translator. That way we weren't always so like dependent upon the translator. And I think that's how we built deeper relationships, with everybody. Man, and when I say everybody, like literally, I was one of the guys I was trying to learn about every single person. And I felt like that made us closer as a team and helped us develop as a team, because a lot of times they don't know what to expect when a foreigner is coming over to Korea. like they may not know what your personality is like. So I wanted them to make sure they had a good understanding of who I was and that I wasn't there just for baseball. I was there to learn about their culture, you know, to dive in more into that and then help them any way I could on the baseball field. Like I wasn't there to say, I'm taking over, I'm the main guy, like I'm number one. No, I'm here to, you know, I'm here to be a part of the team. That's all
Yeah,
it is.
no doubt. So, X, we're going to play a clip of you hitting a walk-off home run while playing in the KBO for the
Let's go.
NC Dinos. So we're going to play it, and then when it's finished, we want you to walk us through that at bat. It'll show some clips of you getting your jersey ripped off and dogpiled. So we just want to hear about that experience.
All right.
야구가 이렇습니다. 이런 드라마가 또 만들어집니다.
3대2 오늘 경기를 끝내는 NC 다이노스 스크럭스의 홈런입니다.
또 손승락까지 올렸는데도 불구하고 지금은 제가 볼 때 스크록스가 잘 때렸어요.
예.
이제 우측 담장을 넘어갔다는 점이거든요.
예.
네. 나성범과의 승부에서 3개 공, 4개의 투구 가운데 3개의 공을 스라이드에 던졌거든요.
예.
스크록스가 역시 좀 생각하는 타자다는 것이 여기서 입증이 됐어요. 제가 볼 때 스라이드가 꽉 찬 공인데
예.
이걸 자기 스윙으로 연결을 시켰거든요.
손승락과 처음으로 맞붙은 스크럭스가
네.
잊을 수 없는 기억을 손승락에게 남겼고 팀에게는 승리를 선물했습니다. 롯데의 연승을 저지하는 NC 다이노스입니다.
그리고
Does it bring it back? Does it bring it back for you?
Hey, that brings back some serious memories, man. You know, everybody who's on here, whether it be baseball, softball, you guys know how hard it is to hit the ball hard. You know, it's not something easy to do. But when you can hit a home run, that's a whole nother excitement. And then when you can end the game, that's the best feeling, man. It was actually something I told myself the inning before. I said, X, let's go ahead and end this game. I think I was 0 for 2, maybe 0 for 3. And so I had already had a tough day, but I was like, you know what, we can end this on a good note. And I actually saw it all happening the inning before. I was like, we're going to get out of this inning. We were down 1 run in the bottom of the ninth. I said, my guy is going to get on first. The guy in front of me, Minwoo Park, he's going to get on. And then I know that I'm going to get a cutter outside, and I'm going to drive it to right field. So I just told myself, let it get deep, drive it to right field. And it all replayed, and then I did it and that's why I was so hyped when I did it. Like, not just because it was a game ender, but it was because like I already saw it happen, and I did exactly what I wanted to do as a hitter. So a lot of times that's why I always tell hitters, you know, try to think about what's going to happen beforehand so you can visually see it, and then you can go up there and do it when you get in the batter's box. But just an amazing experience, man. Like them ripping the jersey off, like that was kind of my welcome to Korea moment. So it was like, man, I was so happy that I could help perform for the team, and I kind of took off from there, man. It was really a lot of fun. Those guys, they have a good time. Like a lot of times they don't even show that type of emotion when the game is over. So that's how I knew I had an effect on those guys.
No doubt. And, you know, I haven't heard, just having been to a handful of MLB games, and you watch them on TV, but the roar of that crowd was electric. You know, like they're bought in, hanging on the edge of their seat for that place. That had to be
they're dancing, they're cheering, they're partying out there. They're having a good time, man. The fans are amazing, and that was one thing I think Lai touched on it earlier. Maybe me trying to leave the stadium and them trying to run and grab me for autographs and everything. That was one thing I love. The fans, they show so much love over there, man. We had an amazing time.
That's awesome.
Right. So this would be, I would say, the last question that will be coming from both of us. So this is the last question. So which is, reflecting on your career opportunities and all, how much of your success would you say was based on pure, God-given talent, and how much was it like based on your hard work?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's probably a tough one because everything for me is God-given, you know. So God definitely gave me the talent, but at the same time, I understood I couldn't just sit on that talent, right? I had to go out there every single day and figure out a way to get better. And that was what was always pushing me. It was always what motivated me. It was like, how good can I be? Like, we never know how good we can be as a player unless we push ourselves to the limit, do more than what we think we can do. So part of it definitely God-given, but for me, it was about finding a way to push myself. And a lot of times that's more mental than anything, getting up at 5 a.m., doing a workout, whatever I need to do to get stronger, more flexible, more mobile, faster, figuring out those things. And then what do I need to eat? Should I eat this dessert over here, or should I be eating these vegetables over here for nutrition, right, for my body? So all those sacrifices that go into it, I keep thinking about as an everyday commitment, even toward the end of the day. Okay, did I knock out all my homework, everything that I need to do, or maybe even get ahead for my classes? That way I have time to prioritize taking more ground balls, taking more fly balls, hitting more off the tee. So that priority with your time, that stuff is really important as well. I'm thinking of like, yes, God-given talent, but all the sacrifices that come along with it to help yourself get up there as far as the hard work and push yourself to the limit.
Absolutely.
That is
so we're
so
gonna
helpful.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, Chad. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so we're gonna kind of move into the audience questions for the evening. So everyone who's watching, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and type whatever question you'd like X to answer in the comment section, and we'll get to as many as we can over the next few minutes. But before we do that, we want to go ahead and take a minute to announce the winning club for the HT Sports Baseball giveaway. So the Garuda Baseball Softball Club in Jakarta, Indonesia had the most players sign up and register for this evening's event. And so we want to actually welcome to the show the coach of Garuda Baseball Softball Club, Coach Pratama Bayuartha from Jakarta, Indonesia. So welcome to the Inside the Dugout, Coach.
What's up, guys? Good evening, Lai and chat to Xavier. Good morning, I guess.
Good morning. Good morning.
So, Coach, we just in a way to say thank you and honor the way you've kind of helped ABI and spread the word and for this event. We're going to get you sent 12 brand new baseballs for your club, but we also want to honor you by asking the first question for the audience portion of the event. So take it away. Ask X whatever you like.
Sure. Well, thanks again, Lai, Chad, and ABI for having me. It's an honor to be a part of this. To Xavier, it's a pleasure to meet you. It's so inspiring to hear stories from your end just now. And my question is, this was touched on briefly earlier, but what would you say is the biggest difference between the baseball cultures of the different countries where you've had experience playing professionally in? If you want to talk a little bit more about that. Yeah.
That was one thing that I enjoyed so much is like experiencing those differences in each culture. I would say in Korea, there was so much more of a respect factor, right? So age is obviously a big thing when it comes to respect. So I noticed that you as a person, me even as a foreigner, needed to make sure that I was on my P's and Q's and being smart about who was older than me and making sure I gave them that respect, right? And then also understanding, the younger guys, to make sure I took care of them, to make sure if we go into lunch or something, hey, the older guy, you're supposed to pay. You're supposed to make sure that that's a part of what you do, passing down knowledge. So for Korea, I really enjoyed that respect factor of everything. And I feel like that's what we could use more of just in general in the United States, people respecting one another more, loving one another more. And then playing in Mexico, just the kind of a difference between the United States is like, man, every day is like the last day of life. And I feel like this is the same for like a lot of Latin countries. Like every day is the last day. So live it to the fullest, whether you're a fan in the stands, enjoying yourself, whether you're a baseball player, making sure that you live it to the last, like it's the last moment, and just enjoying yourself, whether you're eating tacos, whether you're eating, Dominican food, arroz con pollo, whatever it may be, and that's one of the big things too, is like, I love the different food in the different cultures as well. I know this may not have anything to do with your question, but when I talk about the different cultures, like I'm a big foodie, so I had to experience the different food in every single culture to the fullest, man. I had to dive in. And then talking about being able to play in Dominican, being able to play in Colombia, man, like the biggest thing is I got a whole perspective from life, man. I got, like, for me, it was like, not everywhere is like the United States. Not everywhere is like Korea. Not everywhere is like Mexico. So wherever you go, have the opportunity to, like, open your eyes. Don't expect everything to be one way. And I think that's what's helped me a lot here in the United States, is understanding, okay, I was blessed and privileged to have the opportunity to play in the United States and go to the major leagues. But at the same time, there's people that don't have a lot of those same opportunities that I have, those same resources. And even understanding with Inside the Dugout, like seeing the opportunity for some guys to go out there and help out there and just educate, on the United States side of what baseball looks like people need that. And that's what I love to be able to offer, because it's not just United States baseball, right? Baseball as a nation is a worldwide thing. So why not help in every single aspect, every single culture, wherever you can, every single country, and understand that it's not just about you. That's another thing I got from different cultures and different baseballs. Like, it's not about you as a player; it's about everybody else, anybody else you can touch, and just enjoy that time with.
That's awesome. Again, another inspiring answer. Thanks for that, X.
No problem, man.
Coach Bayou, thanks again for all your support. And for all the listeners, check out Garuda Baseball Softball Club in Indonesia. They got a good thing going down there.
Appreciate it, Chad. Appreciate it, everyone.
All right, Coach.
All right.
Sorry, cut him up too early there. All right,
No,
so sorry, Coach Bayou. I love you. So for the comments, right? So we have the comments pop up earlier on. So I'm going to choose questions before we run out of time here, because we are on a time strain. So where is the first one? Yeah. Okay. Is this the one? Yeah.
All right, we got from Hakeem Razak. Your career shows your perseverance. How and when did you know the gift you had? When was it developed?
Man, this is a really good question. I think I knew at an early age. I think I knew around when I said, 12, 11 years old, understanding that it was going to take so much grit for me to get to where I wanted to be. And I think one of the things that helped me understand was that I played baseball, basketball, and football. So I knew that, no matter what sport it was, to be the best of the best, like, you have to work harder than everybody else. And there's only a small percentage that make it. Even a small percentage that make it to get drafted. So I understood the work that it was going to take. But now for me to put that in, that was going to be a whole nother mental part. So I had to be mentally strong. I had to understand, okay, I'm not like everybody else. I'm going to have to work harder than everybody else. So that was something that never changed. It was something that was more like, as I started getting some more little wins, it was like, okay, it's starting to work. Let's keep doing it. Let's keep doing it. Even when I fall back and fail, somebody told me when I was in college, hey, sometimes you take a step back to take a step forward. So then I started understanding, okay, failure is a part of baseball. Failure is a part of life. But how do I get past that? I might take a step back, but then we keep going. Let's keep going. So that was all a part of my perseverance.
It's great.
Okay. So the next one is coming from Khalik. So there you go.
Oh, my baseball idol, man. I can't say I had a baseball idol, but there was multiple players that I loved to watch. I was a big Gary Sheffield fan. Some of you guys might be a little young to know who Gary Sheffield is, but big Gary Sheffield fan. He always was like with the bat. He was always clicking, and then he hit bombs. So he was somebody that attacked the baseball. For me, like, I always wanted to attack the baseball and attack it hard, hit it hard. Another guy, I grew up in San Diego, watched Tony Gwynn, always hitting off the tee, consistent with his swing. So I was always like, okay, I got to be consistent. Like, he does a lot of swings off the tee. Let me do a lot of swings off the tee. So great people I love to watch. And then I'll give you one for today. So for today's generation, I'm a big Mookie Betts fan, Los Angeles Dodgers. Just the athleticism, man, so fun to watch on the bases, on defense, on offense, smaller in stature, still hits bombs. So that's a great guy I love to watch now.
Love it.
The next one, where is it? Let me show that. There you go. From Luna Aurelia.
Yeah, hey, Luna, great question. What physical exercise can you do at home? And this is something I show a lot on my Instagram, TikTok, so you guys can be able to check some of these things out. But just being able to find a way to be more flexible, to be more mobile. You know, it doesn't always take strength training. A lot of times it takes like being able to be more agile with your body, being able to move better. You know, so that may have to do with stretching. You know, that may have to do with just figuring out how to put your body in those baseball positions for a long period of time. So maybe squatting, not with a lot of weight, but like squatting down and doing ground balls. Like if you're going to take a ground ball, and making sure that you're quick with your movements, quick twitch movements, right? Making sure that you're everything works from the ground up. So a lot of feet mobility, a lot of feet strength training, ankles, all the way up to your hips. Baseball players, softball players have a tight hips a lot of the time. So making sure you're doing a lot of hip exercises. But there's so many exercises you can do. Just check me out on my socials. You'll be able to see more of that. Even YouTube. I got a lot of that stuff on YouTube.
All right. Okay, that's cool. Next one from Kyrul A.
What techniques and tools do you use to keep yourself organized as a professional player? Yeah, some of the biggest things for me is, and I kind of just touched on this a little bit, is social media. So if I have a favorite player, like I'll go on their YouTube and maybe their Instagram, see what they're doing as far as what they're getting better at, or some off-season training, and I'll write it down. These are the things I always love to write it down, so that way I don't forget. Okay, this guy is doing this off the tee. Oh, this guy's doing this in the gym. Let me see if I can work on that, and that helps me. Another thing is asking my coaches questions. Okay, hey, what do you think I need to work on, coach? Let me write it down. Okay, let me work on it tomorrow. Did that help me? Did that help me over the next couple of days? If it did, let me keep working on it. Let me progress on it. If it didn't help me for a period of time, okay, what else can I work on? So for me, a big thing is writing things down and keeping a journal as to how I feel when I'm doing certain things. Even when I'm just testing myself, maybe it's in the batting cage, maybe it's on the field. Okay, did this feel good? Okay, this felt good. Let me write that down. Let me work on that tomorrow.
All right. So you mentioned coach there. So the next question is about your coach.
The 2016 Marlins was stacked. How was being coached by Barry Bonds? Any hitting tips? Oh man, Barry Bonds. That was crazy because he was one of the guys, like we talked about idols. Like he was one of the guys that I looked up to, and I was like, when he was finally my coach, I was mind blown. I was like, this guy's my coach right now. So it was amazing. I was like starstruck. Like I remember being nervous, like asking him to go hit. Like, coach, can we go hit, please? So he was like, but it was a good time, man. A lot of tips. A lot of them were more mental than anything, man. Just one of the biggest things is he always thought about not attacking the baseball like I talked about earlier. He thought about catching the baseball. Like if he used his barrel just to catch the ball, because you're already going to swing as hard as you want to swing. But if you change your mindset into thinking, okay, I'm catching the ball with this barrel, and boom, it's going to hit the barrel more likely than not. It's going to hit the sweet spot if you focus on slowing things down. And that was one of the things that he was big on, man. I enjoyed being with him. It was like a dream come true.
All right. So the next question, you might like this one.
How different is baseball in Korea in terms of the unwritten rules of baseball? Is there something similar in KBO? Man, yeah, I talked on the differences a little bit. The KBO is just different because, um, you're not always going to have the top talent, right, in KBO as far as the major leagues. But in terms of that unwritten rules, I think one of the big things is like, the manager is basically like he's like the president of Korea, right? Your manager is going to be the one making all the decisions. A lot of times in the United States, it could be somebody in the front office making a lot of those decisions. So the manager has a bigger role in Korea. And I think one of the unwritten rules is kind of like what I talked on earlier is just the respect factor of the older players, understanding if I'm a younger player, I'm going to get out of the older player's way. I'm always going to have, let them know that they come first, right? Whether it be, in the lunch line, whether it be hitting on the field. So I think that was one of the big things that was not necessarily spoken, but everybody understood that they were first with everything.
So probably the last one.
How do you keep each member of the team involved and motivated? Yeah, I think that's a good one because that's tough. Let's understand that that's tough because everybody is going to be motivated by different things. So I think understanding from a mental point that, okay, I can't motivate everybody the same way, but I need to learn how people are motivated. And that takes patience. You always have to take the time to understand your different players. But then keeping them fresh, always doing something, trying to find a way to do something fun. It doesn't matter if it's your worst player or your best player, figuring out what makes them laugh, figuring out what keeps them excited, figuring out what has them just loose and enjoying the time, and then being able to say, okay, these are some of the things that we need to work on. What can we do together? Building that plan as a coach with the player together, individualize it as much as possible. And I think that's one of the biggest things that helps separate some of the good coaches from the better ones is they try to figure out a way to really relate with their player and build a plan individually for each one.
That's cool. Probably one more, yeah?
Yeah, we got time.
One more. There you go. Junyang Chin.
Oh man, what's your best advice to the underdogs? Best advice is to keep eating, underdogs. Keep going. Like just because you see somebody else is somewhere over here, like don't necessarily compare yourself to them. Just keep finding a way to get better every day. Understand your own weaknesses and struggles and say, okay, let's attack those. Like almost that tunnel vision, like, okay, so-and-so's over here, but I don't even see him because I'm so focused on working on myself right now. And understand it's okay to be an underdog. A lot of times underdogs end up being the top dog. So it doesn't matter where you are right now. Just keep progressing and see where you are toward the end.
That's great. All great questions and appreciate your answers, X. We're coming to the conclusion of the event. We want to go ahead and jump into the new Era Cap giveaways. I know a lot of you guys are excited about. So again, we just appreciate New Era's partnership in the Inside the Dugout events. So in order to determine the winners for these caps, we're going to do something a bit different from last time. So we're actually going to ask you guys each, we're going to ask you 3 questions, trivia questions about Xavier's career. And so if you have time, you got a few seconds to jump on Wikipedia and all the answers can be found there, but it's going to be the first one that can send the correct answer to the question in the comment will receive the cap. So get your keyboards ready and we'll jump into question 1. So Xavier Scruggs was drafted out of high school in the 50th round of the 2005 MLB draft, but decided not to sign a contract. He decided to go to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas instead. Which team was Xavier drafted by that year?
Quickly, find it, comment it. The answer is here.
Good luck, everybody.
For viewers out there, while you're listening to this, do know that we are live on Facebook and also YouTube. So I'm taking this time also to promote Xavier Scruggs.
All right, we have a winner.
YouTube channels. We have a winner. There you go. All right. So,
Iman
Nice.
Sabri from
Nice
Seattle.
job. Nice job, Aman. Nice
Sorry,
job.
go ahead, Lai.
all right.
Or
So
with the socials.
yeah. So Xavier Scruggs have YouTube channel, and as of now, I've seen some TikToks. So you might want to share. Is it the same as written down there?
Yes,
Is
it's
it
the
ID?
same ID on TikTok, Instagram, and then on YouTube, just Xavier Scruggs.
Great. So make sure to follow Xavier Scruggs for the baseball content and all that. So moving on to the next question. Are you guys ready? Oh, Ayman Sabri is so happy. He's like, yeah. So Xavier is known for being a power hitter, right? So how many home runs did he hit in his KBO career?
X, did you set out to be a power hitter, or was this something that was kind of natural?
Nah, man, it was always something that was more natural. For me, I spent a lot of my career trying to learn how to be more consistent as a hitter. A lot of power hitters, the strikeouts come with being a power hitter. So always trying to figure out, okay, how do I lower these strikeouts out and just keep consistently hitting more line drives?
Yeah. All right, we got a winner.
Wow.
Chen. 61 is the correct answer.
Nice, man. Nice.
Congrats, June. All right, the last question is, Xavier played professional baseball in 3 different countries. So we've spent a lot of time tonight talking about the MLB and the KBO. But what was the 3rd country that Xavier played professional baseball in? I don't want to jump to the answer, but how was that experience, that 1-year stint in Latin America?
Man, it was special, man. It was my team ended up going to the championship. We lost in the very last game of the championship. It was I played in an amazing city.
We have a
You
winner.
know,
This is Lai's girlfriend. It doesn't count.
No.
Congrats,
No.
Diana. Congrats.
Hello, Diana. Oh my
at
God.
least she's been paying attention. She's been paying attention.
Yeah, she's a keeper. She knows baseball.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
awesome.
Congrats, Diana. Cool. Well, all of you guys that won, we'll be in touch on how to get those to you. But just to wrap up, X, again, thank you for your time. But what final words of encouragement would you give all the Asian baseball and softball players watching tonight? Yeah,
I think one of the biggest things is no matter where you are in life, baseball, just keep working. You never know what's going to happen. There's always good things around the corner. There's always going to be failures. There's always going to be setbacks, hurdles, struggles. But if you keep working, you never know where you can get to. Don't sell yourself short. Don't think just because where you are right now doesn't mean you can be somewhere you want to be in the future. It just takes time, patience, consistency, and hard work.
That's great. Well, we've reached the end of Inside the Dugout with Xavier Scruggs. Like he said, follow him on social. He's real active with baseball content, encouraging content for all athletes. So at Xavier Scruggs, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, you can find it all. So be sure to follow him and can stay in touch with him there. But thank you guys for joining us tonight. Continue to follow us on Instagram to keep up with more Inside the Dugout events. Until then, have a great night.
And a big shout out to our sponsors, HT Sports, and also New Era Malaysia, New Era Cap Malaysia. And thank you for every viewers that are here tonight with us. And also thank you, Xavier Scruggs. So it's been a great, a great night, a great exchange of, speech and dialogue. So thank you, man.
No, thank you for having me, guys. This has been amazing, something I've never had a chance to be a part of, so it's special to me too.